Hey, how the heck are you? Jonathan here, the Fish Room Addict. It's football, Who Day, got the Bengals, we're going playoff, well, playoffs are starting now. Yeah, so we'll be watching some football today, but while I'm doing that, I gotta fix some 10-gallon tanks. If you remember, it's been some time back. These have been down for probably close to a year now, but a couple of my tanks did spring a leak in the sides, and I gotta get them fixed. I need some more tanks. I need more quarantine or grow out space for some of my smaller fish, and I just want to get them going. And part of my problem on my rack is, if you see, let me get it. All right, so if you see here, I have a support beam supporting the weight of the second shelf, right? Okay, here I did not do that, and probably a mistake. I didn't really think I needed that support there. But over time, it looked great for a while. Over time, this has begun to bow a little bit. And so on this end here, I actually have a little bit of a gap. But as it started to bow, it began to build pressure, basically pushing the tops of these together. And I believe that's what caused these to have a leak. So I'm going to end up draining, when I get these back up and running, I'm going to drain them down, and I'm actually going to put some spacing in between them, and I hope that'll level out some of the weight. If not, I'm going to have to come in here and put a beam in here. So anyways, that's a little side note on that. But today I'm going to get these tanks resealed. So there's a reseal, or there's a seal and a seam on a tank, and there's a lot of videos that go into this and explain it. I'm just going to go ahead. There's a lot of videos that do it a lot more justice than what I'm going to do it. I'm just going to take you along. I'm going to get them done. I got to get them cleaned out really good and get the stuff cut up. I will walk you through how I'm going to do it. I'm just not going to go into great detail because there is so many other really good videos out there already showing how to do this. So without further ado, let's get in there. The football's on. I'm going to be watching some football while I do this, and we'll get these things up and running again. First thing I'm going to have to do is obviously get all this old substrate out. I've got a bucket here. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get that cleaned out. I'll take a vacuum. I'm going to try to get the majority of it. I'll never reuse this substrate, so I don't guess it really matters, but I'm going to go ahead and scoop what I can, put it in my bucket, and then I'll take a vacuum and suck out the rest of what I can't get, and then I'll clean off this glass real good and get ready for getting the old silicone off of this thing. Okay, so I want to really kind of key in on something here. So the seam on an aquarium is what helps keep the water in on the inside. Or no, I'm sorry, this is the seal. The seam is actually what holds the two pieces of glass together here. So when you got your blade and you're kind of going in here, loosening that up, the seam is down through here. So when I got my blade going down through here like this, I know I'm hitting glass here. Now, when I'm on this side going towards this plate, I've got to be a little bit more careful, because if I'm not careful, I can push the blade through the seam, and then you're going to take the whole thing apart and redo the seam, which you may have to anyway, depending on how bad the tank was leaking and the age of the tank. But most of the time, you can replace this seal inside of here and be okay. Especially on a big tank, if you had a big leak or something, I would maybe suggest going ahead and redoing the whole tank. Something else I want to show you, whenever you're coming on this side, because this plate is flat, you can actually cut your seal like this. Now, you might scratch your glass a little bit right there, which isn't a big deal, because you're gonna you're not going to see that anyway because it's going to be sealed up. Now, anytime you're using a blade with glass, you always want to try to keep it damp. I use my sprayway if I'm scraping, or if there's water in it, you're fine. But there's no water in this one, so I'm trying to keep it damp. Otherwise, you risk possibly scratching the glass. You want that blade to glide pretty easily across that. Again, cutting your seal like this helps prevent you from having to push too hard and get into the seam of the glass. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of this cut out, finish getting it cleaned up and dried so we can get some new silicone in this tank. Alright, so I've got everything cleaned out. Both tanks are clean, ready. All the silicone has been cleaned off of all the edges and all the way around the bottom. And I've got my caulk gun here. Always just make sure you have 100% silicone. If it's not 100% silicone, it's not going to work. So be sure you have that. Next, all we're going to do is we're going to run a small bead. I'm going to try to show you that, how I do it. We'll just run a small bead down the inside of this. And then I'll use it with my finger and a wet napkin to just kind of smooth it out. So essentially I'll put a bead on the inside, and then I'm just going to run my finger along it like that to give it a smoother edge. So I'll try to walk you through that, show you how I do it, and just get these tanks sealed and back up and going. So here we are. Both aquariums are back up and go. Well, they're going back up and going. This is a couple-day process, just because I want to make sure the silicone is sealed. Still no guarantees. I don't seal these a lot, so it definitely could still fail. I did notice right here. I don't know if it's the way the tank was built, or if it's maybe something to do with the stand itself. I don't know. But there is a gap here, so I did fill it in with some cardboard to help the pressure and keep that tank from twisting. Hopefully that helps. I don't know if that was the issue before. I didn't catch it obviously before I put it in the last time. But anyways, hopefully maybe this, again, if this thing lasts for a little while and it, all I do is raise fry mostly out of these anyway. So I think it's gonna be fine. So. We'll see what happens. I got some I keep filters in all of my, or well, not all of them, but I keep other filters in my aquariums. I'm going to take those out. I will put them in here, and that'll jump start these tanks, and I can start getting fry into them. I'll probably still wait a week or so, but I can go ahead and be getting fry or quarantine fish into these tanks pretty quickly. So that is that. I don't seal a lot of tanks, and for a more in-depth how-to on how to seal tanks, I would definitely go to somebody like King of DIY Joey over there, or somebody that's done a lot of them. Again, I've done them. They've held. These will, I'm sure, will hold, but more in depth go to those. So, yeah. Oh, I'm going to show you this. So, in the process of doing this, I had some moss come in, and so I'm going to show you this real quick. All right, check that out. I made a little moss bed to propagate some moss, just because I'm kind of getting into a little bit of scaping. I suck at scapes, but I want to play. I'm just playing around a little bit, and I thought, you know, like I was scrounging around for some moss the other day, and I finally found some and ordered a little bit, and thought, well, I don't have anything for it right now, but I want to keep it alive, so I just took a little tray, put a gravel bed in with some dirt on top, and I just keep it damp. Really the only reason I keep it on top of this tank is for a little bit of lighting, and so far so good. So hopefully use that in some future build outs. Anyways, until then, I got a lot of work to do on the ceiling. I got a lot of work to do repairs and this and that around here that I've talked about in the second to last video, and it's going to put a few things on hold for a little while, but I'm glad to have these 2 tanks up. I'm going to start breeding a little bit more. I actually want to try to breed some Severums a little bit, so I haven't really had a whole lot of success out of those. The gold Severums over here in the 55 behind me, they bred actually all the way almost till they was wiggling, and I knew I should have pulled them. I just wanted to leave them a little bit longer, and I'm gonna pull them a little bit sooner next time. I think I got some ideas to maybe do it. I'm gonna kind of do them like like I do the angels, and hopefully that will produce some fry. So we're gonna try that. Maybe I'll do some video on that. Got some other stuff going on over here on the Oscar tank. The 120 behind me is still looking pretty bleh on the plants. So a lot of work still to do, but I got to get everything else fixed and all that before I keep going much further. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll try to make that happen. Until the next one, I'll see you guys.